What is the longest you've gone without eating and why? 4 days. A hangover from 3 straight years of drinking every day. I was in detox. Same here. Probably 4 years of drinking 10 to 15 drinks a day. I finally had a few really bad days that tipped it from functional to decidedly non-functional. Add in the first suicidal ideation I had ever really had. My detox was bad. Terrible shaking and visual and auditory hallucinations on days 2 to 3. I didn't really stop having hand tremors until day 6. I think I blew a 0.32 when I came in. I just could not bring myself to eat anything those first 4 days. Thankfully you could get cold fruit juice 24/7, and even that I diluted half and half with cold water. Same with me, but I did it at home without medical supervision. Bad idea, folks. I could have died. You literally could have died. Not figuratively, not suggestively, literally. As a nurse, I get the pride, strength and honor that comes from a self-detox and or going cold turkey. However, certain substances can and do lead to death even under medical supervision. So, for everyone out there who is still sick and suffering, please, when you are ready and hopefully, if possible, detox with a medical professional. Good luck to all. Congrats to you, Swami, and others who have battled through and stayed sober. Certainly is not an easy task and is nothing to scoff at. Same here. I didn't know much about how serious it is to detox with medical help. From day 2 until my mom called an ambulance. Day 5, I was talking to ghosts in my house, walked into a stranger's house thinking I was meant to clean their bathroom and saw people that told me they were there taking me to hell. I'm an atheist, so not even sure where that came from. Turned out I was having delirium tremors. Fun times. 36 hours. I was trying to go to sleep without passing out drunk, to see if I could just go to sleep normally. Could not do it. Still didn't ask for help for another 6 months. Alcoholism sucks. Thankfully hit 10 years sober recently. Now I do 18 to 24-hour fasts, but that is to control my prediabetes insulin resistance. 3 days, heartbreak. Been there. Me too. I was getting massive head rushes just from getting up from bed. Rite of passage. I didn't eat for 7 full days after my ex-husband left me for someone else. The divorce diet is real. I lost 40 pounds in a few months. Almost the exact same, 40 pounds in 3 to 4 months. What a time. Glad it's behind us now. 5 days for me. It would have been longer had my boss not forced me into it. Same, 7 days. Went through a breakup that hit me disproportionately hard compared to time spent together. I really liked the guy, still do. Just too wrenched to eat. By day 4 the lack of food didn't even faze me and I just carried on. Finally came back around to eating after losing 10 pounds. Similar reason, went a week with only 2 sandwiches all week, lost about 8 pounds. 2 days. Going through that right now. Just looking at food makes me want to hurl. Maybe try starting with something like buttered toast when you're ready. Low effort. And sometimes once you break the seal it makes it a little easier even if you just nibble. Or maybe a meal replacement shake just to get some nutrients back in ya. I've got a stomach that's really sensitive to stress and I lose my appetite fairly easily when dealing with it. Hope you feel better. Carnation breakfast drink. Vanilla or chocolate? If I can get it down during cancer treatment? Anyone can. You can choose what milk you want to mix it with if you get the powder. 10 days just water when I had glandular fever and couldn't swallow anything without excruciating pain. I'd have to dip the water on my tongue and almost let it be slowly absorbed to the back of the throat. I was given crushed up soluble vitamins and even that I'd just sit in my tongue without swallowing and just let it dissolve. Honestly, the pain of swallowing was like eating glass mixed with barbed wire. Its strange cause hunger kicks in after 24 hours and is quite overpowering for the next 2 to 3 days, then once you get past that it sort of disappears entirely and just comes and goes in short bursts. This is the part I've tried to explain to people. You literally stop being hungry at some point. In fact, I had gone so far off the deep end, the sight/smell of food made me nauseous. It was so hard to get regulated again. Mine was depression-related, but the physiological factors remain. I completely relate to this. I've gone 7 to 8 days without eating, a few times, due to depression. Longest was 11 days. It was hard to force myself to eat. I'd have intentions to, and then just couldn't. I couldn't even have water with my glandular fever. My throat became so bad that it was bleeding into my gut and I'd vomit up blood. But I lost about 10 kilograms in a week from fevers, no food, and surviving off a drip. Without modern medicine, I'd surely have died from glandular fever. Knocked me out for about 6 months. Yeah, my stomach stopped screaming after a few days. Then my entire body went into low power mode. I had a super painful sore throat once where I couldn't swallow. It only lasted 3 days though. 10 is crazy. I'm surprised you didn't get blood clots from being so dehydrated. I remember being in hospital with glandular fever and they gave me tablets and pain meds to swallow. Some were the size of Tic Tacs, which were about a Tic Tac size too big to swallow. They decided a cannula was the way to go. I had the same sensation when I had a tonsillectomy. After the 3rd day or so of no food, I just stopped feeling hungry. It was a pretty big relief, as it gave me a chance to not try to force something down for just another couple of days. Got myself up to sugary drinks and broths a couple days later and actual food around day 6 or 7. That is absolute torture, Jesus. Your brain thought you were in danger of starving and gave you the clarity you needed to go run an animal down. At least that's what I've heard. Sleep is kind of the same. After about 30 hours without it you get a weird clarity in your mind. 4 days. Sub ran out of food on deployment after delays happened. That's crazy. Did you guys discuss eating each other? LOL. I've actually never considered what a sub would do if it didn't receive a resupply. It might sound silly, but wouldn't it make sense for a sub to carry fishing equipment just in case this happens? It was discussed making an unplanned stop, but there were other factors I can't discuss that played into that necessitated us making best possible time to another location for resup. What was your first meal post-fast? LOL. Believe it or not, they had various sandwiches waiting for us when we pulled into port. I had 2 ham and provolone cheese. Nothing else was really planned as any sort of special meal or anything. Just business as usual. Edit, apparently I forgot how to spell various LOL. 3 days. Homeless and smoking crack. Didn't even like crack. Smoked it to stay awake because I woke up on multiple occasions with different strangers trying to rape me. That sounds horribly terrifying. I saw a documentary on LA homelessness and one of the interviewees said that every homeless woman they know has been raped while sleeping rough. Every single one. It's only a matter of when. This is what I worry when I see women on the street. I don't live in LA or NYC, but I've always wondered if women get raped when they're homeless. That is horrifying. Almost 3 days. COVID. Same here. I got COVID a week right after I had my first dose of the vaccine, had 103-degree fever and was coughing up a lot of stuff. I thought it was something else till I got tested at a clinic and it was positive. Eating wasn't a concern for me for like a week. I did lose like 7 pounds though. Yep. Just had COVID for the first time 2 weeks ago, and I couldn't eat for 3 days either. Even when I finally was able to eat, I could only take a few bites at a time. It was horrible. 3 days, lack of money, and my family could eat while I didn't. My family means more thani do. Yup, on a couple of occasions I've had to go a couple days without eating or barely eating because after I paid all my bills, there just wasn't enough money to spend on food and I had to wait for payday because I was too proud to ask for help getting a meal in my belly. Thankfully those times don't happen too frequently, but bills suck sometimes. Same situation with my parents, they lived mostly on croissants for months when I was a kid. We were dirt poor, but us kids never went hungry. We ate lots of stews or other cheap batch meals, but my parents couldn't afford to eat. Thankfully for them though, my dad worked at hotels and would pilfer croissants from the guests' leftover breakfasts, which he'd then take home so my parents could eat. Weirdly enough though, my dad views croissants with rose-tinted glasses and will eat a croissant for nostalgia reasons, lol. He says that being dirt poor was the best and worst time of his life. Worst for obvious reasons, but best because he had to be resourceful when it came to days out, and having a treat meant so much more, lol. For anyone else in this situation that happens to be in the US, please go find a local food bank or church charity and get some food. Almost every major city in the US has them, and it can hold you over for whatever stopgap you need, or if you have a long-term food deficit they can hook you up with a long-term assistance program. I know the joke is food banks only give out crappy food, but that is rarely the case anymore as food storage and production technology has wildly increased over the past few decades. If you are hungry, please go get help, especially if you have children. Malnutrition is one of the biggest health problems in the country, and it doesn't have to be. I know every single person won't have a good food bank or charity nearby, but there are so many who do and just don't think to look or are too proud to get the temporary help they need to get back on their feet. Whenever I grocery shop, I buy extra canned goods and drop them in the food pantry barrel. End of the year, I write a check for what I can afford to the local food bank. I've seen that system in process, and it really is a good, efficient charity. Now that I wrote this, I'm going to take my son down to the food bank and offer to help for a day or two. Karma. A day and a half. Overworking myself to the point of not doing anything other than the things that needed done. I was skipping lunches in school for a few days, then said I was too sick for dinner on one night. I was actually feeling sick, but likely from stress and needed to eat. I was functioning off of water and Pepsi. A month, didn't know had malaria, almost died. 2 weeks. The first time was because I was so depressed after my mom's suicide I had no appetite. Every time after that was because I have nothing to eat and no way of getting any. I feel that. When my brother died I didn't eat for 2 weeks either. I had no appetite at all and didn't even think about food until like a week and a half in, when I realized I hadn't eaten so long. I tried to eat something and I'm not sure why, but I just couldn't. Like the thought of eating just was not something I wanted to do, so I didn't. Not sure what made me start eating again, tbh, I guess I just finally got hungry enough to eat despite not feeling like doing it. Then how did you survive? We can go a long time without food. I had a GI bleed and needed a bunch of scans to find the source, 1/day. Ended up not being able to eat for 4 days. Made the colonoscopy prep fairly easy because there was nothing in there but blood, so once that was out I could stop drinking the laxative. The liquid diet dinner I got that 4th day was basically heaven. About 14 hours, I sometimes just forget to. But if I don't eat every 8 hours I get irritable, my stomach hurts, I feel like I'm going to throw up, and I get a pretty bad headache. Same here. The only times I've gone more than 12 to 14 hours, I was sick. Like, anything that goes down comes right back up sick. Other than that, nobody wants to be around me if I haven't eaten. Please like and subscribe for more daily content.